Crying, screaming, clenching. They're disturbing sounds for any new parent to hear. But what happens when the crying never ends?
Daddy's gonna get you.
The Rosario family knows firsthand those feelings of frustration and helplessness. Just 3 weeks after they brought their healthy newborn son home from the hospital, the sudden outbursts began.
It was about 7 o'clock at night, like right at dinner time. He would just start crying and nothing would console him. It was horrible because you feel helpless.
Star's son, Robert Brandon, was suffering from colic.
The most common cause of abdominal pain in infants is something called colic. Colic is the descriptive term that we use to describe children, usually from about 2 weeks until about 3 months of age, who get these sudden outbursts of abdominal pain where they cry and seem to be very uncomfortable.
When you see such a tiny little infant crying so much and so miserable, you wonder, how bad it is that he really has to cry that much and for so long. I mean, it's draining to the point where his voice would get a little hoarse from the crying, and then you see the little tears come down his eyes, and it's like you feel so helpless.
Although this medical condition is still not fully understood, pediatricians say the problem may stem from an immature digestive system or a baby's allergic reaction to its mother's milk, creating painful stomach aches.
This tends to be in the afternoons or in the evenings, and in some cases it lasts seemingly for 24 hours in some children.
However, unlike most medical conditions that require a series of tests to diagnose, colic is determined after no other explanation can be given for the newborn's extreme discomfort.
We as parents, we always want to find a reason. We have to know why things are happening, and when you don't know why it's happening or what you can do to help him, then you feel helpless.
So how do you know if your child is colicky? It's easy if you can remember the magic 3s. Doctors say the crying must occur for at least 3 hours a day, 3 days per week, and last for at least 3 weeks. Colic also begins within the first 3 weeks of life and rarely lasts longer than 3 months. It occurs in otherwise healthy, thriving babies. But knowing your newborn has colic is only half the battle. Since no one knows exactly what causes it, parents often feel guilty for their child's pain.
At first, you blame yourself, oh, maybe it's my breast milk, maybe it's not good for the baby. So then we went ahead and changed them to the soy formula, and that didn't help.
Although a change in formula may help some infants, when nothing seems to work, Dr. Horowitz says there are things you can do to make a child with colic feel more comfortable.
Some of the things that we recommend include give the child a bath, some dim lights, and some soft music, things that are very soothing to the child. So each parent has to try these different kinds of techniques and find what works best for their baby.
And after weeks of suffering, the Rosarios found their son's saving grace.
We pulled out the vacuum cleaner and we tried, and it actually worked. From 6 weeks to 3 months, the vacuum was our best friend.
Robert Brandon seemed to find comfort in the soothing white noise of the household vacuum cleaner.
Throw the rock.
But possibly the best news a parent with a colicky baby can hear is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Most children naturally outgrow colic at 3 months, and Robert Brandon was no exception.
The periods of crying got smaller. He would cry a little bit. He was more easily consoled, and techniques that didn't work before would work.
For the entire Rosario family, that meant a quieter, happier life.
It was wonderful to be able to see him at night and enjoy him without having to, to worry about the crying or seeing him in pain. It's just an overall feeling of joy and happiness. And even for him, because you could see that he was happy.